Imagine checking your bank account and seeing 70 cents. Not $70, not 700, 70 cents. Now imagine a second account, your so-called backup, showing a grand total of $2.26. That's not a hypothetical. That was Grant's real life. He had just been laid off. No severance, no safety net, no plan. And at 24 years old, he had to do the one thing his generation dreads most: pack up his apartment and move back into his parents' house. In America, we have a word for a grown adult who moves back home. We don't say it out loud, but we all think it. Grant thought it too. Every single night when his parents sat down to dinner and asked, gently but painfully, "So, any callbacks today?" he'd stare at his plate and quietly say, "Not yet." He had sent out over 200 resumes in 2 months. 200, and not a single callback. One afternoon, he drove to an empty parking lot, turned off the car, and just sat there, staring at the sky, asking himself a question a lot of us have asked in our worst moments. I did everything right. Good school, good grades, played by the rules, so why is this my life? Here's the thing. Grant had followed the traditional script to the letter. His dad told him to get a stable, high-paying job, even if he didn't love it. So he did, and it got him laid off with 70 cents in his pocket. But that afternoon in the parking lot, that's where his real story began. The turning point, the goal that changed everything. Grant made a decision that day, not a vague, feel-good decision, a specific, almost aggressive one. He was going to get to $1 million in net worth, and he wasn't going to wait until retirement to get there. He didn't know exactly how yet, but he knew 2 things. He was done leaving his financial future up to employers, and he was done living without a number to aim for. Over the next 5 years, he became obsessed. He read every personal finance book he could get his hands on. He took side jobs. He launched 2 small businesses. He failed, lost money, got back up. And 5 years later, he crossed the $1 million mark. Then he set his sights on 10 million. And rather than keep the blueprint to himself, he wrote it all down. Every lesson, every mistake, every strategy, in a book called Financial Freedom. Today, we're going to break down the most powerful ideas from his journey and how you can use them starting right now. The 7 stages of financial freedom. Grant identified 7 clear stages every person goes through on the path to financial independence. Think of them as levels in a video game. Each one unlocks something new. Stage 1, clarity. Before anything else, you need one number, not a feeling, not a dream, a number. How much money do you need to never have to work again? If you spend $4,000 a month, that's $48,000 a year. Your target is 25x that, about $1.2 million. Write that number down. Put it on your phone wallpaper. Until you know your number, you're driving at night with no headlights. Stage 2, self-sufficiency. This is the stage where you cover your own costs, without borrowing, without help, without a co-signer. You're not ahead yet, but you're standing on your own 2 feet. Don't underestimate this win. For millions of people, this is the hardest stage to reach. Once you're here, everything else gets cleaner. Stage 3, breathing room. Now you have a little cushion. If something breaks or you miss a paycheck, you don't spiral. You've got 1 to 2 months of expenses saved. This isn't wealth, but it's the beginning of peace. Most Americans never reach this stage, which is exactly why most Americans feel broke even when they're earning decent money. Stage 4, stability. All your high-interest debt is gone. Credit cards, personal loans, cleared. And you've built a 6-month emergency fund. This is the first time in your life you can breathe without financial anxiety sitting on your chest. You have a foundation. Now you can build. Stage 5, flexibility. You've got 2 full years of living expenses saved or invested. Now your decisions stop being driven by fear. Hate your job? You can leave without panic. Want to start something? You have runway. This is where most people realize that money isn't about buying things, it's about buying options. Stage 6. Financial independence. This is the finish line Grant hit in 5 years. Your investments generate enough passive income to cover your lifestyle. You can stop working for money entirely. You still might work, but because you want to, not because you have to. That distinction changes everything. Stage 7. Abundance. You have more than you'll ever need. Now the question isn't how do I survive, it's what do I want my life to mean? Legacy, impact, freedom for your family. This is where money becomes a tool for something bigger than yourself. The mindset shifts that make it possible. Mindset number 1. Your time has a dollar value. Act like it. If you earn $50,000 a year, your time is roughly $25 an hour. Now ask yourself, how often do you spend an hour doing something worth $0? Arguing on the internet, waiting in line to save $3, watching another episode you didn't actually enjoy. When you know what your time is worth, you start making different choices. You pay for the grocery delivery. You hire someone to clean. You stop DIYing things you're not good at. Not because you're lazy, but because your time is better spent earning, learning, or recovering. Start calculating your hourly rate, then start acting like you believe it. Mindset number 2. Know your number, then work the math backwards. The 25x rule is your compass. Take your desired annual lifestyle cost and multiply it by 25. That's your financial independence number. Once you hit it, here's one way to structure it. Put roughly half in stable, lower-risk vehicles, like CDs or treasury bonds. That covers about 10 to 12 years of expenses. Put the other half in diversified index funds. Over that same 10 to 12 years, the market has historically grown it significantly. Recombine, repeat. The math isn't perfect, nothing in investing is, but having a system beats having a wish every single time. Mindset number 3. Compounding is magic, but only if you start. Every dollar you save and invest today is worth a multiple of itself in the future, but compounding only works if you give it time, and time only works if you start now. The 3 biggest places Americans bleed money: housing, buying more than they need to impress people they don't like; cars, same story; and food, specifically dining out 5 nights a week when cooking twice a week would cut that bill by 70%. One more American-specific trap: financing weddings on credit cards. The wedding is one day, the debt payment is 3 years. Redirect that money into index funds, and in 10 years, you'll be more grateful than you ever were for the open bar. Mindset number 5. Build multiple income streams. A single income stream isn't stability, it's fragility with a paycheck attached. Grant got into real estate, buying undervalued properties, renovating them, and either selling at a profit or renting for passive monthly income. You don't need to be a real estate mogul. One rental property, managed well, can eventually pay for itself. But real estate isn't the only path. Freelancing, consulting, digital products, content creation, the options have never been more accessible. The common thread isn't the vehicle, it's building income that doesn't require your direct hours every time it earns. Mindset number 5. Learn to sell. It's the meta skill. Every raise, every promotion, every business win, every career pivot, they all come down to one skill: selling. Not manipulation, selling your value clearly, confidently, and consistently. Whether you're negotiating your salary, pitching a client, or explaining why you deserve a second chance, you are always selling something. The people who get ahead aren't always the most talented. They're the ones who can communicate their value most effectively. If you want one skill to invest in this year, make it this one. Close, bringing it home. Grant started with 70 cents, a one-way ticket to his parents' couch, 200 rejection emails, and not a single callback. 5 years later, he crossed 7 figures, not because he got lucky, not because he had a rich uncle, but because he stopped waiting for someone else to hand him a roadmap and built one himself. Here's the truth. The 7 stages we talked about today aren't reserved for finance gurus or startup founders. They're a framework for anyone willing to get clear on what they want, make a few key mindset shifts, and actually start. The best time to